$6 million, would you buy an Inter in prime area or Semi in OPA?
What OPA?
Outside prime area.
What?
Acronyms, bro. Now everybody also come up with sexy acronym and come up with my own.
But anyway.
Welcome to another episode of Property Roundtable with myself, Harvey, and Rama, making another episode to help buyers and sellers in their journey of acquiring or selling a landed property in Singapore.
OPA.
Gangnam style.
Yeah. OPA.
Okay, this question came about from one of the comments from one of our viewers in recent videos. I think this viewer watched back some of the videos that we did previously and said that there's this question that no one has really covered before. Like for this kind of budget, right? What is the perspective of buying Inter Terrace versus Semi in non-prime area? So Rama, I think to put certain context to the question, if you're talking about $6 million buying Inter in prime area, we would probably assume that the land size is maybe 2,000. We just very broad 2,000 square feet land. The house is pretty not bad, right? Done it before, maybe 2.5 stories, right? Versus a Semi-D, which is the land size, is probably bigger, like maybe 3,000 plus or 3,000. Then you have an old house sitting on it. So Rama, firstly, right, would you buy in prime area or outside prime area for landed first?
Bro, for 6 million, I even buy for them a bungalow, bro. But only thing is not freehold. But anyway, I believe the person...
We assume that it's not freehold. Because if you go into the leasehold topic, another can of worms.
Bro, one more time. Can you ask me the question again?
Okay, so Rama, would you prefer to buy? Let's not talk about Inter or whatever first.
Okay.
We just talk about prime area, outside prime, landed. Which one will you buy? I know this sounds like a silly question, but which one will you buy, in prime area or outside prime area?
I mean, in today's context, right? We have said this so many times, I anywhere also will buy, bro. This one is anywhere also can buy. I mean, then you ask me.
Yeah. So if you, for myself, I think I would prefer to buy in the prime area if I can. If I have a fixed amount of budget, but I'm willing to compromise on a lot of things.
Correct. I think that would have been a better question, bro. What are you willing to compromise from?
Yes, because it is, I call it a silly question because in any form and shape or any circumstance, right? Everybody would prefer to buy in a more like sexy address, which is like in a prime area, right? So I think for that viewer, I think for a start, both Rama and I probably will agree that we want to buy in a prime area But for Rama, he said he'll buy anywhere, which I think is also true
But not anywhere.
Yeah lah.
Like the previous episode. The prison one, that one.
Correct. Okay, so that's one. But $6 million, does it truly get you I think $6 million buy Inter in prime, I think possible, but really like probably quite old, right, Rama?
Yep. But again?
It's probably quite oldish. 6 million.
I think there's still some available at the... Remember the other time we were talking about the houses behind Paragon, is it?
The old...
what's that estate name? Forget the estate.
The Maui there.
Maui, correct, yeah.
Yeah, I think
that one still
the really
can,
old ones can. And you still can get, and it's really definitely considered prime.
Yeah.
But now, if the question were to swing altogether, $6 million for Semi in outside prime area, I think the universe is yours, right? I think there's quite a lot, right?
Yes, bro, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
So I think for this person, right, I think the dilemma is they want to acquire actually more land. I think that's what the person is asking. Would you rather buy something that has more land?
But outside prime area also got prime area.
I got P in OPM. Prime in outside prime area.
Oh, then it's become apple, pineapple, pen.
Prime in outside prime area. Hey bro, wait, name one. I really want to know. What is the prime in outside prime area?
Frankel.
True. Like okay lah, like Dunbar, like this kind of area lah. Yeah, it's very soft. Or even Mountbatten, right? You have all your Arthur Road or your Mayor Road. These are your prime in the outside
Side of
prime area. In fact, actually, the most popular estate outside of D19 is D50, which is East Coast, which is actually not prime area, but I would say that the prices that they are talking about there or it's been moving is actually not shy of what I think the prime has been asking, and in fact that has possibly pushed the prime area
But there's
prices
also
up.
the people there, bro. They always like to talk. East is the best lah, East nothing
East
like
side.
a East lah, blah,
But I
blah.
grew
So
in
they
the
keep,
East, leh.
they keep hyping it themselves,
But I grew up in the East and I can understand why. I think East offers this lifestyle that West doesn't, or like certain central areas. Like, okay lah, Singaporeans are even how rich. They sure like their occasional like Hokkien mee or like wonton mee or like their hawker centers lah.
Yep.
I think in prime it's probably less. Okay, case in point. So you say Bukit Timah, you go which hawker center?
Bukit Timah, go which hawker center?
Okay, Adam.
Oh, Adam.
Then another one, Newton Circus.
That's all, bro.
Yeah, nothing what. But okay lah, if you
I'm
from
sure if you're watching, I'm sure one or
you can
two,
comment lah. Tell us where lah. We don't know lah.
Ah.
But let's say you stay around Bukit Timah, you always around. Okay lah, maybe you stretch a bit. You say okay lah, no lah. Maybe we go Tiong Bahru Market. We go Tanjong Pagar. Still have some. We go Maxwell Road. If you really want to stretch it a bit.
Maxwell will still be open lah, bro.
Yeah.
The Tiong Bahru Market, I don't think will close very soon one.
Okay lah. So your daily, like your lifestyle, right, is appeals in terms of, I would say, we'll call it the prime of outside prime area lah, which is popular lah.
Of course, with the seaside, and all these things. Yeah.
But okay, let's go back to the context of this question. I think the person wants to know whether they should spend that budget to get more land. Let's talk about land first.
Yep.
So Rama, do you think getting more land in a non-prime area is better than getting less land in a prime area given the same budget? Or which one would you prefer?
Okay. I mean, there would be a point where we might even end up going a little technical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never mind, our audience always technical one.
Yes. So now, it also depends on the number of available units in the prime area. That is an important point to note. Because
Also true.
if there are a lot more units in D15, for example, as compared to where I pointed out earlier on, there's only a handful there, right?
Yes.
So naturally, when there's a handful, the number of transactions will also be a handful.
Yes.
So it's limited activity.
Yes.
Limited activity means limited price movement.
Yeah.
Okay, but of course they have a base price for that particular place, but it's a limited movement.
True.
So I still feel that getting out of the prime area to an estate where not too many units, that it becomes uncomfortable, but just nice number of units. And there's no such thing as a nice number of units though. You would most probably ask me what's a nice number of units. But I think that would give the price movement a better chance.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? So that's one. And of course, land size.
Yes.
Okay, land size. Naturally, you will also have a lot more option here than the ones over in the prime area lah. So I think the person who asked this question, to me, the question is what you said.
Yeah.
What would you compromise?
Yeah. What will you compromise?
I cannot compromise on what that plot of land can eventually give me. That means what I can build in that land.
Yeah.
Because a semi-D definitely has a setback.
Yeah. Or you're the Inter guy. You like that.
I love Inter, but the only thing is, of course, Inter maybe cannot may not have enough light. That's one of the things that they say lah, right? But I always feel like, wow, I want to have an Inter Terrace. I experience all the size, the full size lah,
Yes.
Whereas if it's a detached or whatever, I need to let go I don't like garden bro. I don't like to maintain it. So you see, different people, different, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Rama pointed out one point, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think even if you wanted to acquire something of an Inter Terrace in prime, right? I think if they may not come, there may not be many of them. And the landed market traditionally has been tightly held. Only in recent years, I feel as the older generation has realized that perhaps the landed may not serve them as much of what you guys feel today. Like perhaps in those days, landed was just another type of housing that they bought. Right?
Yep.
Maybe they cannot chase out from the kampong, then they tell them go stay landed. It's not even like something that was their choice. And in old days, maybe condos was seen as the more sought after because it's swanky, got facilities. Your 5Cs doesn't include L. Last time 5C is what? Car, condo, what country club, credit card, and I don't know what lah. Last time don't have L ma. Nobody gun for L. Now everybody wants a piece of the pie in the landed market. But if someone had this budget of $6 million and they feel very torn between whether to buy something, firstly, we agree that perhaps I would personally want to buy in prime. Rama says that, perhaps you have prime in outside prime. That means you go gun for very popular areas outside of prime. Let's say with 6 million, you can still get you a bit more, which means that the location portion, we address it in a way that, we want to buy something that people sought after or relate to as they're willing to spend the money lah. Because if you buy at this price point, you're hoping for someone to pay a higher price later.
Yes.
So there is a higher chance that all these bigger units of luxury units that are condos in the prime area, they are going to be selling at a higher and higher sticker price, right? So today, if you're looking at a four bedder or 5 bedder luxury condo out in the market, I think sometimes they can, for brand new ones, they can even go up to north of 15 million or whatever. So 6 million suddenly becomes really small when you're talking about in a prime area. But once you step out of prime area, you go outside prime with the same budget, why we think that there's more available, right? Because even if you found something that you like and it's not even a semi-D, right, you can still buy an Inter easily. And then you go through your so-called your rebuild. So for this question, right, another angle that I also wanted to ask Rama is, if let's say for the status do you think that the semi-D has a higher chance of hitting a higher price point in future versus the terrace?
Wow,
I think this is what a lot of our viewers are keen to find out.
Okay, this I think many episodes ago lah.
Yeah, we probably talked about
most probably
in one of our points lah.
Yeah. So the thing is this, for this question, right? Again, technically lah.
Yeah.
I'm a numbers person in this case, where I always talk about activity. The more the activity, the more the price movement. Okay. So how many semi-Ds do we have as compared to how many terraces do we have?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So that is one thing that we need to note lah. But of course,
we have more we have more terraces lah.
Correct.
Yeah.
There's two schools of thought. You can always say, wow, that one got a lot of supply, so the demand not so much. No. In this case, no.
Yeah.
And then here the supply not so much, so the demand must be high. No, again, may not be necessarily true. Okay. You need to still physically see the place, physically see whether this place is suitable for you. Because a semi-D, my biggest concern of a semi-D is I need to realize the space that I have inside the house.
Yeah.
Because I know, I already told you, I'm not a great fan of gardens. Not that I don't like it, I'm not a great fan. Okay. So because with the setbacks are going to take up a lot of the space because of the land size or the shape, then I have a problem. Okay. And I also know that there are a lot more terraces and there are a lot more transaction in that category. So the price per square foot of that category of property would definitely be higher. Okay. Of course, there's a lot of other things that is put into place, which is location and all these things, right? But that's my feel.
Okay. So in summary, I think what Rama is saying is that he feels that the per unit price of terrace houses has a high propensity, higher propensity to grow higher because there's more transactions and you know in terraces are smaller in ticket sizes, so the per square foot will be higher lah, which is a numbers perspective. As a purist to landed market, I think that there will always be people who are looking specifically to buy something like a semi-D because they probably feel that, I have some breathing room between myself and my neighbor. I have the prestige of being a semi-D because it's just lesser ma. And maybe thirdly, when I look at a semi-D, I feel that for the minimum size of a semi-D frontage is wider than the terrace house. So if we look at it from a perspective of just technicals, right? Like terraces, you just need a minimum of like 6 meters. Then semi-D, you need 8 meters. And bungalow, you need 10.
Yep.
But it doesn't mean that the buck stops there. There are some semi-Ds with very wide frontages, right? Which allows more for a buyer when we buy a semi-D to feel like, hey, there's a lot more feel. The frontage of the house is bigger, right? Even after they set back, they still got ample space to increase the floor plan, right? So from a technical standpoint, I think semi-Ds have the propensity to grow also because it's more like a try before liao. Let's move on to the next one. If I stay in a terrace before, maybe I want to go and try staying in a semi-D. Maybe it's more like the upgrading thing.
Even the semi-Ds, right? There are various types of semi-Ds.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a row of semi-Ds.
Yeah.
When I say row of semi-Ds, of course, it's a detached. If you define it true, the boundary lines are touching each other.
Yeah.
But then there's always this one semi-D that is the first one or the last one, which doesn't adjoin another one. There's a road or a walkway. Some people prefer that because of privacy. Hey, I don't have anyone on this side. I feel good because the next house is after the road only.
Correct.
And then he also got a setback.
Correct.
That is one school of thought. Another school of thought is, hey, I don't want this one. It must get somebody can climb and then come in. My security lesser already. You know what I mean? So again, what do you want? Is what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know?
I think from a purist, like I mentioned, why I say purist, right? Because for every typology in landed, right, there will always be their own fans. For every person that doesn't like a garden, there will be one that like. For every person that is worried about their security, there will be someone who say that Singapore is very safe. We can put like CCTV. Now, I always have a belief that if you own more square feet of land, right, it's always better. If you don't own that many square feet of land, then you will try to maybe maximize the floor plan a bit. Because if you look at valuations today, right, they are always, people actually start caring about what is the actual house that sits on it right now. I think in the older days, a lot of similar houses were built on different size land just because it's assumed to be that way. Like, all the terrace houses, right, they're all the same size. But it just happen you kena the corner, right, you are the same size house but sitting on a bigger plot of land. So therefore you own a bigger plot of land, but your house is probably the same size as your neighbor.
Yep.
Then someone with a limited budget will come in and say that, hey, Harvey, I think let's not buy the corner lah. Because actually we're just paying for the land, but we can't really use it. So there was one, I give you one example. There was one client, right, that I brought, right, to see a landed house that's a terrace, it's longish. The land size, right, is quite big. It's like maybe 2005, 2006, a very long piece of land.
Okay.
With a relatively, I would say, modest size house sitting on it. And it took him a long time to decide that actually, no, he wanted to buy that house because he did want to acquire the amount of square foot of land. But his spouse was dead against it. He said that, what's the point? The house so small. We buy this land, right? But we can't use it. So for her, right, today's problem is today's problem. Tomorrow's potential is tomorrow's potential. I don't care about owning the land. Now, this same theory, right, can be helped or mitigated if they knew how to increase the footprint of the house. So, for example, if the house is longish and there's enough setback space, they can actually create more space to the front of the building.
Okay. What is the width?
Bro, the width is like 6.5, 7.
Okay lah.
Yeah. So they can actually extend, which was a suggestion that I gave multiple times. I said, okay, you can increase the footprint of the house just by extending the front. And you can easily from there increase another like 20% of the usable area.
Yep.
But of course, therefore, the dilemma still lies with, hey, we buy this house, then we got to spend more money to extend. Then I feel like it's bohua.
I just got reminded of one of the cases we closed, bro.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
The the east side one
Okay.
near Kembangan one
Okay.
The width was so long,
the width is
wide that the previous owner actually made a site where it looks like a semi-D. Remember what did he do?
No lah, he basically the party wall, right?
Yeah.
It's not all the way.
Yeah.
Because technically, right, all you need for terrace, right, is to have one part of the party wall touching the neighbor. It doesn't have to be a continuous contact. So I think he set back a little bit, create some light coming through.
For the second floor and the first floor as well. Yeah.
Again, right, that is for the lack of knowledge, right? You always be stuck with what you see. What you see in front of you is what you see, ma. But for us who's been in the market, we actually in our heads, we know some hacks or some potential ways for you to be able to, even if you spend that money, I think that it would be safe to say that if the land prices escalate, that the amount you put in for the capex, right, will eventually be made back, lah. Right? This theory is something that I think people don't share enough. I think when you have a square foot and it increases by $100 a square foot, I would say that for the $100 of capex or the reno or A&A that you spend on, you claw it back. So whilst you're staying in it, it's also a free use. So again, this broad question is basically just saying that, hey, would you rather buy in Prime Inter, or would you rather buy in outside Prime for semi-D, semi-D, right? I think again it's a very top line kind of question that actually it's not even possible for us to give a direct answer because we have to see the product. Yeah. If it's a semi-D that is like really done up, and versus a prime area by the Inter that is like really needs a lot of work.
As much as I agree with Harvey on the bigger the land size is very important. I want to is that what he said? That's what he said, right?
Yeah.
More the size. But of course, always remember the shape of the plot of land as well. So sometimes the land size is very big, but then there will be some awkward shape at the end, like a triangle or trapezium at the back, which is of no use. So that would cost, that would be a different value in that case. So, I mean, these are little things that you need to watch out for. Again, the point here is you may never know until you step foot into that particular house.
Yeah, and again, it's also about like having a different set of lens towards making this big purchase. People tend to be inundated, people tend to find it hard to decide when they start looking at different things with the same budget. It happens to the best of us, right? But for us, we are more like selective towards certain parameters that we look at, that our goal, right, is not, we won't understand you that much to the point that the house, the nature of the characteristics and your lifestyle, that we mentioned before in one of our episodes, that you need to go and find out like what really suits you. But if you want a heads up, you want some advice, you want some value-added advice as to, if I buy this, right, what are the potential outcomes I can be looking at in the next like 5 to 10 years, right? I think we are best at that. And I think if we can also bring like technical people to give you some idea of how you're going to play around with it. I think we've done this so many times with our clients, and a lot of them have made purchases based on technical inputs about like the actual works that can be done from the people that we bring along. So again, the round table model, right, is we believe that coming into the journey with you from the get-go, and then also like stringing up all the timeline, which we have already successfully done for many of our clients in the last 2 years. We are not a new show. We have been in the market for 2 years. And we have had multiple clients who have done this whole full suite through us and are pretty much happy with what they have purchased so far. So again, thanks for throwing a question like that. And I think it's good that we only pick certain questions to answer, because I feel that it benefits, or we feel that it benefits the general consensus and some of the pain points that we face in today's market.
And don't forget to keep the questions coming.
And don't forget, give comment on which hawker center in the area, Prime
Bukit Timah.
Anyway, thanks for watching another episode of Property Roundtable with myself and Rama. And again, we would like to help you in your journey, and we are trained realtors first. This show is add-on value that we've been like sharing with people, and we continue to want to bring value to the table. So again, if you like what you watched so far, please share with your friends and ask them to
I think
subscribe.
at this point in time, I must put the Opa Gangnam Style background music and the Apple Pineapple Pen.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching another episode, and we see you the next time.